Hello, guys, and Chelsea managed to put 4 past Panathinaikos and actually find themselves top of the Conference League. I've always explained to you that this competition is very important for Chelsea, considering that Enzo Maresca wants to create that winning edge in the team. And I always say that we need to take this competition serious. Chelsea made heavy rotations in this team, and we saw Chelsea's B team step up and actually put up a performance that merited that game. Now, we know very well what happened on Sunday when Chelsea actually lost away to Liverpool, but watching the game again yesterday, I realized that Chelsea was so dominant throughout the game, and it's only fine margins that made Chelsea lose that game. Chelsea did not capitalize, especially through Jadon Sancho in that game, but Chelsea have an opportunity to get back onto the winning track, especially after failing to win their last 2 games. So Chelsea this weekend will be hosting Newcastle United at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea are tipped to actually win this game, but Newcastle are not such an easy team as many people think. This is going to be a tough test for Chelsea. As I've told you, Chelsea are currently facing 4 difficult games before the next international break. Let's look at Newcastle. So Newcastle is a team that likes to build from the back, and they build from the back by splitting their center backs wide of the goalkeeper and pushing their fullbacks high and wide, and having only Bruno Guimaraes being the solo pivot. Newcastle want to create a situation whereby they have as many as 6 players ahead of the ball so that they can be able to create those transition moments. Newcastle are a very physical side, and the reason why they prefer building with less players is so that they can push a lot of players high up the pitch and create situations where they are able to play balls over the top for players such as Joel Linton, who can win the duels and actually play players such as Isak in behind the line. Players such as Gordon are also very dangerous for Newcastle, and when Newcastle are under settled possession, they move into a 3-5 structure, either by Bruno Guimaraes dropping in between the centre backs, or one fullback, either Livramento or Lewis Hall, inverting into the backline, while the other generates width on either side. So this game is not going to be an easy game because Eddie Howe is also one of the most tactically astute English managers, and Chelsea will have a difficult game on their hands. On the other hand, Enzo Maresca is going to receive players who he missed in the game against Liverpool, and such players are like Cucurella and Wesley Fofana, because I believe that those 2 players could actually had an impact where in that game against Liverpool. Precisely Marc Cucurella, who actually get minutes yesterday playing against Panathinaikos. So some of you, especially those in the UK, US or Canada, who asked me how they can actually support this channel or sponsor a video, you can actually get the details of how you can actually send something through my Mpesa line in the description area below. Just click the link and then follow the procedure, and maybe you can support this channel. Thank you. Now, before we even start, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Let's delve into the lineup. So, Robert Sanchez is more likely to come back and retain his position in goal. And this is something that I'm really skeptical, because I've not been impressed with Robert Sanchez consistency. We don't know what you're going to expect. But yesterday, I saw Jorgensen actually being better. And I would like to see if Jorgensen can be given one Premier League match, because I think if the manager gives him Premier League games, he will automatically dislodge Sanchez. I'm going to go with the back 4 of Reece James, Wesley Fofana, Levi Colwill, and Marc Cucurella. Reece James is back. He's very fit. He's strong, and you know Newcastle are a very strong, imposing, and physical team. Therefore, Chelsea will need the majority. They need physical defenders, and Cucurella and Reece James in particular give Chelsea that much needed physicality. And then we know Fofana and Colwill's partnership has been really tremendous for Chelsea, and therefore Chelsea will really benefit by having their starting centre back pairing in this game. So that is one thing that Chelsea can also do. And then we move on to the midfield. The midfield region, I'm going to pick Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia. And I'm saying this again, Lavia is playing tremendously. He's receiving the ball under pressure. He's giving Chelsea that needed legs in midfield. You know, Chelsea's midfield has been porous sometimes because Fernandes has not been giving the legwork. But when you have Lemfi and Caicedo, you have two ball winners, two ball progressors, two excellent passers at the base of midfield, and they give Chelsea ball progression as well as defensive solidity. That's why they are the first choice pick in these positions. Moving forward, we're also going to have changes. And changes is Jadon Sancho will be given back his opportunity back to the left wing, and he really needs to improve his game after a very disappointing result when facing Trent Alexander-Arnold at Liverpool. Noni Madueke retains his position at right wing, and Cole Palmer, being the first name on the team sheet, is more likely to come in and play in that number 10 position. He was put quite off by Curtis Jones in the Liverpool game, but in this game, Chelsea need to create those overloads so that they can be able to allow Cole Palmer to actually receive the ball in dangerous places high up the pitch that can actually create problems for Newcastle. Now, leading the line is going to be Nicholas Jackson. Jackson so far has been very good for Chelsea. You can see from his link-up play, you can see from his work rate, you can see from the goals that he has actually scored. He's actually stepping up to be Chelsea's main man, especially in big games. If only Chelsea can manage to clear out their defensive problems, then they automatically have one of the best players who has improved this season. And you can clearly see the direction in which Nicholas Jackson is moving at in this season. So, let's look at both teams and what do we expect. So Newcastle, we expect them to press Chelsea high up when looking to build up. And Newcastle will press Chelsea sometimes in a 4-3-3 narrow system, similar to what Liverpool were trying to do, preventing Chelsea from progressing with the ball in midfield and retaining three midfielders to counter Chelsea's midfield. Now, one way Chelsea can do to play through this is having to move into a pseudo back four by Sanchez playing as an extra centre back and Lavia and Caicedo dropping deep. And in this case, if Newcastle decide to commit as many as 5 players to the press, then Sanchez should automatically look to find Reece James higher up the pitch and have Reece James actually look to run with the ball, creating overloads down the right, especially with Noni Madueke. But since Newcastle might allow Chelsea to bypass the first line of pressure because they are aware of Chelsea's threat on the counter and may decide to create that midfield overload that Liverpool created against Chelsea to try and neutralize Chelsea, something that also Nottingham Forest did, then Chelsea will have a task on their hand to try and break down a rigid, compact, and well-established mid-block. Now, in this kind of fashion, when Newcastle decide to create that block, then Chelsea can either opt for two things, either by inverting, deciding to invert Mark Cucurella so that Colwill can occupy a central position and Reece James can occupy a wide position similar to that wide wing back position, allowing Reece James to be pushing forward to even try and overlap. But Maresca might prefer to have Cucurella being the one inverting high up the pitch so that he can create that overload together with Jadon Sancho. And this will allow Fofana being the central centre back. But Fofana, we know very well, is not quite great in those kinds of positions. And if Newcastle decide to have a front three, then Chelsea can move into a pseudo back four with both Cucurella and Reece James playing deeper and wider to give the two centre backs the width, while Lavia and Caicedo play as a pivot. Their main aim will be trying to have Noni Madueke and Jadon Sancho 1v1 against their fullbacks and try to have them receive the ball from their fullbacks directly and look to create problems for Newcastle. Alternatively, we can find Cucurella inverting immediately higher up the pitch so that he can play in the position that Gusto was picking up the game against Liverpool. Now, the question is, will Wesley Fofana be able to play that central defender role? And it's something that Fofana has not have that space, and this can make Enzo Maresca actually opt for Colwill in that position and play the Viega in that left-sided centre-back position because of the entry of Reece James. And if Newcastle decide to sit in a 4-2-4 or /4-4-2, Then Chelsea's main aim is to try and play the ball towards the wide areas so that the wide players can pull out centre backs out of positions and look to try and play balls in behind, especially for the runs being made by the oppositions, by either Cucurella or Cole Palmer looking to attack those half space positions that are very, very important for Chelsea during these attacking setup and attacking phases of play. Now, we have this 4-4-2 rigid structure, and most likely we know Fofana is going to be the one who is playing that position. Chelsea can decide either to line up in a 4-2-4 by also dropping Jackson, or attack in a 4-2-3-1 by having fullbacks being the ones to actually overlap. Now, without the ball, Newcastle, as I told you, they like to build up with few players and actually put majority players high up the pitch so that they can immediately just go long and try to create those transition moments, because they know that they have players like Joelinton who can generate that physicality for them to win the second balls and other balls during the progression phase. Chelsea can decide to press Newcastle in a 4-2-3-1 system, allowing both Lavia and Caicedo deeper so that they can be able to win those second balls. No, Chelsea lost the game against Liverpool because they were unable to win second balls. And to make Chelsea much more physical in that way, they need to have midfielders who are able to stay deep to win those second balls and heavily rely on the positioning of their forwards to try and force the ball wide and cover midfield positions, and heavily rely upon the 1v1 ability and dual success rate of their fullbacks. Now, when Newcastle are under settled possession, Chelsea can revert into their 4-4-2 rigid block that we've seen Chelsea employ, and sometimes you might find Livramento actually looking to overlap while Lewis Hall looking to tucking into the backline so that Gordon can occupy central positions. And in this case, you Chelsea know and understand that this 4-3-2-3 structure can be countered effectively by a 4-4-2. And in this case, the way they can do it is having their deepest pivots picking up the players in between the lines and having their forwards sit on the two pivots and pressing momentarily while looking to prevent any central progression of the ball by having their forwards press the central center back while another forward looks to sit on a pivot. They need to recycle the ball onto one side of the pitch while ensuring that they cover any central channels that the opposition might try to actually play through. Now, this game is going to be a very tough game for Chelsea, and Chelsea know this. Chelsea have not won their last two Premier League games, so Chelsea need to get back to their winning ways, or the gap high up the table is going to be very tight to cover. Aston Villa are looking to be back into the top four, and those are Chelsea's main competitors. This game, Chelsea need to win it so that they can at least carry some bit of confidence when traveling away at Old Trafford. Give us your prediction. My prediction is going to be a 3-1 victory for Chelsea. What are your predictions for this game? Leave your comment in the comment section area below, and thanks for watching.